Greetings, web denizens, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a video review of a book that I read, The Rose Conspiracy by Craig Parshall. I'm doing it outside so that I'm away from the computer. You know, every so often we web folk, it's important to get out and enjoy something that's real. So that's what I'm doing right now. I thought, well, what better place than on a lake? So here I am on a dock on a lake. It's a beautiful day out here in Florida. You can't ask for better, let me tell you. This is why we come to Florida. But anyway, back to the book I'm reviewing. I'm reviewing The Rose Conspiracy by Craig Parshall. I got it via Active Christian Media. The president of that would be Stacy Harp. I don't know if you know her. If you don't know her, you ought to figure out why, because you should know her. And get to know Stacy. She's got a really good blog at activechristianmedia.com. And I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. She's on Twitter, she's on Facebook, she's on all the social networking things. So just like all the great people, you know, we're all on the social media stuff. We have no life. But I did find time to read a book. Actually, I've read a couple the last couple of weeks. Craig Parshall's book was one of them. I enjoyed this book. It's a Christian. Well, you know, I almost hesitate to call this book Christian. It is. Don't get me wrong. But I think one of the interesting things about this book is he deals with a character that isn't a Christian. The main character isn't a Christian, and I found that kind of interesting to read. He definitely, the character, Craig Parshall really brought the character across to me as far as the challenges he was faced with and the difficulties that the character had in his life, and I enjoyed that aspect of the book very much. I had a little hard time getting into the book at first. The plot is there's a murder and at the Smithsonian, and the client of the lead character, J.D. Blackstone, who is a law professor and a well-known lawyer, is accused of the murder, and he has to defend her against it. And it deals with the Freemason aspect and all that mysterious sort of stuff. That kind of gets a good mystery going, and it is a mystery. You're wondering who it is up until the near end of the book, and trying to figure it all out. And he does it in a really good way. He keeps it clean, but Parshall has a really good sense of the law and how to bring the courtroom drama into a novel, and that can get really dry, but he does a very good balancing act with it and keeping it interesting, and I enjoyed that very much. But like I said, I had a little difficulty getting into the book at first. It didn't start off real quick for me. There wasn't I guess I'm an action kind of guy, and I wanted a lot of action, and there was a bit of action that I really liked. There was a horse chase, actually it was a pickup chasing a horse, and I enjoyed that very much in the scene, which was about a third of the way through, a little more, almost halfway through. The drama started to move, so that kept me going. The writing is good. It's pretty crisp. Plot development was good. It could have been like I said, I had a hard time getting into it. That may be a plotting element, but it also could just be my reading style. So, but the plot was sound to me, and there is some nice twists that I'm like, well, that I didn't see coming, and I thought, oh, hey, that's kind of neat, and so it's a really good legal thriller. That's what I would call it, a legal thriller. I'm sure you've all read plenty of novels by legal thrillers, and if that is your genre, then I think you'll like this book. Um, I've read another book by him. I can't off the top of my head remember what it was. It's been a couple years ago. No, it hadn't been that long ago. Um, but it dealt with a man who was fallen as well, uh, and his coming to Christianity, and uh, it was inspiring to me as well. This one is too. He doesn't really come to a sense of Christianity. You don't get that sense. At least I didn't. But you get the idea that he's on his way. And I thought that's one of the things I really liked about this particular book. Um, it was a little real in that sense, you know, as far as people that we deal with and how we witness to them, and how this J.D. Blackstone's uncle, who is a very spiritual man, witnesses to him, and is always just trying to encourage him to seek out the Lord, and there's a good testimony between what J.D. Blackstone's wife went through before the book begins, and that's all plays into the story, and I enjoyed that aspect of this book. I really did, and um, it's definitely worth spending some money on to read. It's from Harvest House Publishers, so a good imprint. Um, and if you're looking for a suspense thriller in the legal genre, The Rose Conspiracy's it. Okay, till next time, enjoy the view.